In 1983, a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet measured something inside the human brain that nobody has fully explained since. Your decision to move your hand registered in your brain's electrical activity 350 milliseconds before you were conscious of deciding. Not after, before. And neuroscientists still cannot account for where that decision originated. Libet was working at the University of California, San Francisco. The experiment was simple. Subjects sat in front of a clock and flexed their wrist whenever they felt like it. They reported the clock position the moment they noticed the urge to move. EEG electrodes tracked their brain activity in real time. The results shattered something in how researchers thought about conscious choice. The readiness potential, a measurable surge in the motor cortex, began building 550 milliseconds before the movement. Subjects didn't report feeling the urge until 200 milliseconds before movement. That gap, 350 milliseconds of neural decision-making occurring entirely beneath awareness, has not been resolved in the 40 years since. Here is what that means. Right now, something beneath your awareness is composing your next thought. Not suggesting it to you, composing it. You haven't had it yet. But it already exists, built, assembled, ready to surface, and in a moment your conscious mind will receive it and call it yours. Psychologists call what happens next confabulation. Your conscious mind doesn't know what happened below the surface, so it constructs a reason, a story, a motivation that feels entirely real. You experience the decision, you remember making it. The memory is the fabrication. In 2005, researchers Lars Hall and Petter Johansson at Lund University ran an experiment almost nobody outside neuroscience knows about, and it changes everything about what you think you know about yourself. The comfortable explanation for Libet's findings is neural lag, the time it takes for signals to travel, process, convert. The brain is warming up, not deciding in advance. You choose, the machinery executes, and the subjective sense of will slots in at the right moment. Free will survives. Your sense of self stays intact. That's the version most people settle on without realizing they're choosing to. Hall and Johansson showed subjects 2 photographs of faces and asked which they found more attractive. After subjects chose, the researchers used sleight of hand to swap the photos and handed back the face that had not been chosen. 73% of participants never noticed. They looked at a face they had not picked and they explained in careful detail exactly why they had picked it. They named specific features, warmth in the eyes, trustworthiness in the jawline. They reconstructed an entire internal experience, a sequence of noticing, feeling, deciding for a choice they had never made. And they believed it completely. No hesitation, no confusion. Your subconscious registered the original preference. Your conscious mind was handed the swap and built a story around it. But here is where it stops being a laboratory trick. The phenomenon is called choice blindness, and it does not stay in the lab. Hall's team replicated it with moral positions, political beliefs, and self-reported personality traits. Subjects who were handed back the direct opposite of what they had said about capital punishment, about immigration policy, about their own character. Most of them defended the inverted position as their own. Fluent, confident. They built arguments for views they had just rejected in real time and experienced the entire thing as conviction. This means the conscious version of you, the one right now recalling why you believe what you believe, may be the last to know what the brain beneath has already decided. The reasons you'd give for your values, your preferences, your choices, they may be retroactive. Generated after the signal fires, wrapped in first person, handed back like a memory you were always meant to have. Neuroscientist Michael Gazzaniga calls the mechanism the interpreter. It doesn't generate decisions. It explains them. It is running right now. Some researchers argue the Libet gap is an artifact, that the readiness potential is motor preparation, not decision-making, and consciousness still holds a veto in that final 200 millisecond window. You could, theoretically, stop yourself. Free will survives as an editor even if it isn't the author. But choice blindness doesn't engage with motor timing. It operates at the level of belief, identity, self-concept. You cannot veto an explanation you are already constructing. By the time you become conscious of your reasoning, you've already decided it's true. Others argue confabulation is adaptive, a system that keeps behavior coherent, social interactions smooth, personal narrative stable. That may be accurate. It does not make it less disorienting. Because a system that maintains your sense of self by filling in gaps you cannot detect is, by definition, outside your access. You cannot audit it. You cannot catch it. You wouldn't know what to look for. Libet's gap fires before you decide. Hall's subjects explain choices they never made. Gazzaniga's interpreter runs constantly, narrating everything, generating nothing. Neuroscience has not answered whether the version of you that's aware of all this, right now, watching this, forming an opinion about it, is the one making any of it happen.